right, guys, this is Crazy Kev here, and I'm here with Hannah, Goldy. Hannah, how we doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. And Hannah, it's been a little bit since we've seen you compete in MMA. I mean, talk to us a bit more about your career right now. Where can we kind of see you next?
Well, I had signed with the GFL earlier this year, and I'm sure you've seen it. Everybody's kind of seen it, how that unfolded. So I'm a free agent again. When I found out that I wasn't going to be fighting in June, to be completely honest, I like all of my motivation kind of like went out the window. Like I'm an athlete, so like my daily routine stays the same no matter if I'm in camp or not. Like I'm always in the gym 6 days a week, usually like 10 to 2 every day, Monday through Saturday. So I stay in shape, but like obviously camp shape, fight shape is different. And I was definitely ready to start camp for that GFL fight, and then it fell through. So I was kind of just like set into this like, I don't know, like mental fog, and I'm just trying to like gain back the motivation to get into camp. But I had spoken to my coach just a couple days ago, and I was like, let's find something before the end of summer. I don't really care what it is. Like, I just feel like I need to get a few regional wins racked up and then see what kind of opportunities present themselves.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would be awesome to kind of see you return then. And now, with you mentioning the GFL, and then with everything kind of unfolding, I mean, how did you kind of find out about the GFL kind of having the issues that it did?
Um, I mean, it's funny. Like when I heard about the GFL, my management company had like randomly said something to me like October, November of last year, like, hey, like there's this new organization starting, like this is the format. What do you think? And I'm like, cool, like sounds good. You know what I mean? Like the pay sounded great. Like, let me know. And then a couple months later, me and Paige were talking, and she was like, oh, like I heard about this new organization. And I'm like, me too. Is it the GFL? She's like, yeah. And we were like, we should do it. Like, that would be dope if we got on the same team, like, and obviously that ended up happening. And we actually, her and I flew out to New Orleans together. We did like the Radio Row thing, met the founder, and it seemed legit. Like he was super dope. And then a couple weeks later, I feel like I just started hearing things like that investors were falling through, and the fights were originally supposed to happen. Like I originally was supposed to fight in April, and then it got pushed back to May, and then it got pushed back to June. So I was like, okay, like something's going on. Like I'm still gonna be prepared mentally to fight, but also like was definitely getting scared that it wasn't gonna happen. And I think that was my biggest fear. Like the whole 6 months that I was, signed with them, was that like it just wasn't going to happen. Like everything kind of just seemed too good to be true in terms of like what they were paying us, like just the whole layout of the entire organization, like seemed like it really favored, us as athletes. And I think in MMA, that's something that is foreign with a lot of organizations. So it was super exciting, and it seemed definitely too good to be true. Unfortunately, it did end up being too good to be true. I mean, hopefully they can get their shit together and maybe put on cards in the future, but for right now I definitely am not planning or hoping for that. I just am going to see what else becomes available.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I definitely understand when it comes to the GFL. It's definitely a chaotic situation for sure. And now you mentioned, you were not really interested in fighting for a little bit because of all this, and I totally understand. But what kind of flipped in the gym to kind of, kind of want to have that comeback in the summer, like you mentioned?
Well, it's funny because like all of the girls on my team just recently fought. Like three of my girls were in fight camp. So I had Alice Ardeline, like she comes to Fusion now for her camps, and she's in the UFC. She actually just won her first fight in the UFC. So she came for her camp, and just like training with her and being around her, and seeing how like hard she was working, like really motivated me. Honestly, I'm like, damn, like I want to like get back to that. I want to be in camp. I want to be like working towards something. And then, like I said, a couple other girls, actually three, there was four girls all in camp at the same time. And I was like the only one that wasn't, and I was supposed to be. So I was like, dang, like I need to, I need to just like come in for their camps and help them and have that push me and motivate me to, sign a contract of my own.
Yeah, no, no, fair enough. It's definitely awesome to kind of hear that your motivation switched for sure. Now you're kind of used to chaotic situations. I mean, not only did you have to deal with the GFL, but like when you were in the UFC, you also had to deal with the COVID, and you also mentioned in another interview you had to drive all the way home during the COVID and everything. Talk to us a bit more about that kind of experience. What was that kind of like?
Yeah, that was crazy. I was supposed to fight Jessica Penne, And all like that fight was also at 15. So generally like when I'm cutting to 15, like it's a super strenuous weight cut on my body, and I always end up getting sick like the like fight week, you know, because I'm like in such a calorie deficit. I'm starting to like dehydrate. I'm still, you know, training super hard. So generally my body starts breaking down around that point anyway. So I usually start feeling shitty regardless, you know. So like I flew into Vegas on a Tuesday, and that was when like literally we were like getting off the plane. We were going and checking in at the hotel. They had a van set up where like you went in and you took your COVID test. As soon as you took that test, you were like pushed straight into your room. Then you had to quarantine in your room for 24 hours until your test came back. And then if your test came back positive, then you were allowed to like go out and like be around at least like in the hotel. It was crazy. So got to Vegas Tuesday, did my test, went to my room, and like I did like have like a headache that night, but again, like all of that seems totally normal. And then like I am in bed and get a call at like 6 a.m. the next morning from my manager, and I'm like, why is Abe calling me at 6 a.m.? And I like pick up, he's like, hey, how do you feel? And I was like, why? And he's like, because you have COVID. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what the heck? So obviously I you know wasn't allowed to fight, and then they were basically like you can quarantine in Vegas for 10 days, which for me isn't really an option. Like I have a son, you know, I had him at home and I needed to get back to him. Like if I'm not fighting, I don't want to be here, you know, like I'm like ready to go home. I was so bummed. So they were like, you can either quarantine it here for 10 days because you can't fly, or we can rent you a car and you can drive home. And I was like, bet, rent me a car. Like, and I was like, how quick can it be here? They literally had it at the hotel within an hour, like pulled it around back. I just like grabbed all of my stuff and started driving home.
Wow.
And that was like the most depressing drive home ever. I was so sad.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, it was all right. I stopped in Santa Fe, and the guy I was dating at the time actually ended up flying into Santa Fe and like drove the rest of the way home with me. And we made it as fun as we could. But I slowly started feeling worse and worse as like the week went on. Yeah, that was crazy. Like my like lung, like I feel like my lungs got it the worst, you know, for probably a few months after that. I just felt like such like shortness of breath and everything. But um yeah, that was a crazy experience for sure.
Yeah, no, that definitely is a crazy experience for sure, and I'm definitely glad you got to share that a little bit. And now you mentioned you're in the gym about 6 days a week. You know, you're obviously pretty strong yourself. I mean, what do you kind of do for your strength and conditioning to kind of be the best version of you?
I mean, I generally try to stay, and I call it like my normal people gym, like 2 to 4 times a week, where I do a lot of like conditioning for sure, and then like explosive body weight, like plyometric stuff. Everyone thinks that I lift a bunch of weights, and like I honestly don't touch weights like at all, like beyond like doing, you know, body weight stuff and, you know, a little bit. But if I if I lift heavy, like I gain muscle, I swear at like an accelerated rate. So I try to mitigate that as much as I can because it's already so hard for me to cut down. Um, so usually just like, you know, high intensity conditioning stuff, plyometric body weight stuff, explosive movements. I do track workouts on Wednesdays, which is really fun. Um, yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
No, that definitely is a pretty interesting insight about your strength and conditioning for sure. And now you obviously been on the grappling scene for a little bit as well. I mean, talk to us a bit more about some of your favorite memories competing on the grappling scene.
Um, I mean, probably one of my favorite memories. It was Medusa. It was combat jitsu, and like I had like a viral video of me just like literally trying to knock this girl out with open hand slaps. And it's
Yes.
funny because like I love Maddie. Like we were in the back like prior to that match, and like she's my girl, you know. But also like I'm an MMA girl, you know, and I feel like that was like just the start of combat jitsu. So I was like, I'm gonna try to knock this girl out with my hands. Like, I just really, really wanted to get a TKO and forgot to do all jujitsu. But that experience was super fun. I love Eddie. Like prior to that match, the night before, I was supposed to be in the tournament, and I ended up having a health issue, so I couldn't make weight. So he just put me and Maddie as like a special matchup or whatever. And like I was in his hotel room the night before, and like him and I are like rolling around on the ground in his hotel room. He's like explaining the rule set to me because like I had never really competed in like I had done a couple IBJJFs, like I had never competed in EBI. So like me and Eddie are just like on the floor, like rolling around, and he's like, "All right, start in this position, get in this position." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I think I remember it." But yeah, that was super fun. And then obviously FPI was super fun too. I still feel like I have a great relationship with the UFC. I love everybody there. So that was a really cool experience too. And I also loved my opponent, Amanda Maza. She was super cool. So that was a really dope experience too.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome. You had a lot of cool experiences for sure. And you mentioned you have a good relationship with the UFC. I don't know a ton about it personally, but are you potentially maybe eyeing up a UFC BJJ match?
I mean, I would
I
love
think-
to. I think, yeah, like they're super, I feel like they're focused on the boys right now,
Okay.
obviously. So I'm hoping that, that would be really, really cool if an opportunity presented itself in that scenario. I don't know like how they're doing it in terms of like weight or, like what's gonna happen there. But that would 1,000% be something I would be super, super, super interested in. So we're just gonna have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, no, that definitely would be awesome for sure if you could get a matchup there one day. And
Yeah.
obviously, you're a beast and whatnot in MMA. But what do you kind of like to do outside the cage when you're not in there training and fighting?
I mean, I hang out with my kid. That's basically my whole life, right? Like my whole life is like the gym and my son, and just he's getting to the age now where like he loves going to the amusement park. So like we're big Universal people. So he's like obsessed with roller coasters now. So every day that feel like I have enough energy, we're like at Universal. He just did Velocicoaster for the first time the other day. That was really, really fun. So yeah, we'll do the amusement parks. We like to be outside, paddle boarding. Yeah, just normal life stuff. Nothing crazy. I did grow up snowboarding, so that's something that recently I've decided like I want to try to commit to doing more. So like maybe once or twice a year, take like a winter trip and do some snowboarding before I get too old and my knees get too fucked up to do it anymore.
Yeah, no, I hear you when it comes to that stuff. Now, you mentioned snowboarding. I mean, how did you kind of get into snowboarding? You mentioned you did it when you were younger.
Yeah, so I grew up in Vermont. My grandpa was a ski instructor. I actually started skiing when I was like 3 years old, and then my older brother was a professional snowboarder when I was younger, and I always looked up to him. So like I think I skied for a couple years, like maybe till I was like 5 or 6, and then I was like, I don't want to ski. Like I want to be like my big brother. I want to snowboard. So yeah, literally just grew up on the mountain. My mom worked on the mountain. So we all got free passes, like season passes, which like now it probably wouldn't seem expensive, because of inflation, but like back then it was expensive. It's crazy expensive now. So we got free season passes, and I think like I had more sick days where I was like up on the mountain snowboarding than I did like actually go to school in the winter. Yeah, so just it was like it's a family thing, like we grew up I grew up north, and that's just what you do, it's like it's winter half of the year there, so if you're not into some kind of like winter activity, it's pretty boring.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Another thing I was curious as well too. Next week we got a pretty big fight with Charles Oliveira and Ilya Taporia. What's kind of your
Mhm.
prediction for that matchup?
Um, man, I love Charles, and also I don't know if you knew this, but his jujitsu coach, Makako, like he trains at our gym, and I'm really close with him, and I do a lot of my jujitsu with him, so I'm probably pulling for Charles. But I love Ilya too, so that's a tough one. I think Ilya's gonna take it, but I want Charles to win.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. And yeah, I definitely kind of am on the same boat as you. I think Ilya could win, but I'm kind of hoping that Charles does it as well.
I'm just a bit worried about Charles's chin, I think a little.
Yeah. Exactly. Because like Ilya Taporia has like crazy
He
power. I
has
mean,
knockout power, yeah.
it's
A
insane.
1,000%. Yeah. So, and I think that is probably like that would be the biggest concern for Charles in that matchup.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And now, one thing about me is I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I have a bunch of guys in my gym, and I'm curious, what advice would you give to those guys to keep on coming into the gym and to get better and better every class?
I mean, just stay consistent and stay humble and don't take easy rounds. I think like in the beginning it's like if you're like a big shark in a little pond kind of a thing, it's like I feel like you always have to like challenge yourself, and Dean Thomas said this to me when I started training with him. It was like you have to like get comfortable being uncomfortable, and I think that's some of probably the best advice that I've ever had is like nobody wants to do the hard rounds, nobody wants to get held down, nobody wants to go with somebody that is going to like fuck you up, right? Like you know, when you're training, obviously your training partner shouldn't be trying to hurt you, but they should be trying to push you and challenge you and make you better. And you know, like those are the character building days when like you are the nail and not the hammer. And I think it's important to have those days, and I think it's important to like embrace those days and actually like go looking for them, because that just makes you so much more prepared when you step into the cage or the ring, you know, and you have an opponent across from you that is trying to hurt you.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree. I definitely think that's some solid advice for sure. And now, you were obviously in the UFC for a little bit. I mean, talk to us a little bit more, maybe about maybe some cool behind the scenes stuff that might have happened with your UFC journey.
Oh, I have a really funny story actually. It was another video that me and my friend Mitchell posted on Instagram, but before I fought Molly, I had gotten two mouthpieces made for my those that fight because we had like I had a joke with my coach that camp because like he was trying to get me to like be mean, you know, like I'm like I'm not like a shit talker. I'm not like a, you know, like I'm always like smiling during training and joking and laughing, and like he was like always trying to get me to like, you know, be a bit more of a dog and like talk shit and kind of like, you know, whatever. So we had like a saying, and this is kind of inappropriate, but whatever, we can air it, we can not air it. But like instead of like a guy would say like suck my dick, like he would be like, he would always tell me be like suck my pussy. So like I made a mouthpiece that said that for like just strictly because it was hilarious. It was like a joke between like me and my coaches, and then we brought it, and I brought it into like the equipment room, and I like handed it to the guy and I'm like, can I wear this? And he opens it, doesn't say anything, passes it to the girl next to him. She opens it, shakes her head, doesn't say anything. She like throws it across the room to like a third person. He opens it and he's like, what the fuck? And then they were like, no, there's no way, like, there's no way that you can wear this. Like, absolutely not. So thankfully I did bring another one that said Odin's mom, and I wore that one instead. But yeah, so it was funny. So you're not allowed to wear inappropriate mouthpieces when you fight in the UFC.
That's definitely a crazy and insane story. I'm so glad you shared that. That's hilarious. So yeah, definitely some cool behind the scenes stuff there. And Hannah, it's been awesome talking to you. I appreciate you coming on the show and taking some time. But what's maybe your final message out there for the fans watching this video?
I mean, I just feel like I've been on the side burner for a while, and I just want everybody to be prepared for my comeback. You know, like I haven't been competing, but I've been staying active in the gym and I've been getting better. And I really think, you know, that the next time I'm able to showcase my abilities like on a stage, like everyone's going to see a completely different fighter and a completely different athlete, and I'm excited for that. I feel like I have a few more years left in the sport. I'm in my prime right now, and I'm definitely ready to like take advantage of that and, you know, like make one more run.
Yeah, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you make that last run. And Hannah, thank you so much for the time. And right before I let you go, do you mind if we take a quick picture for the Instagram? That would be
No,
good to go.
absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Perfect. All right, Hannah, I love it so much. Thank you so much for taking the time, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Enjoy the fights.